So I heard about Onepage. I think it was on TikTok or some social media platform. And, when I see a new tool out there, I want to check it out. So I checked it out and really liked the templates and the builder mostly. I found that the builder was really easy to use, even without having to read documentation. I just got in there and was able to build the pages I needed to build really fast.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about Onepage. I'm going to just give a little bit of an intro to you if you don't mind, but Steve is a wealth of knowledge. He began his career in IT way back in 2002. He spent about 10 years building technical expertise before transitioning into digital marketing around 2012. And from 2012 to 2018, he's worked for a company handling website design, SEO, pay-per-click campaigns, and so much more. That's where he developed all these comprehensive digital marketing skills and strategies. And since 2018, he's moved into freelance work, providing both SEO, pay-per-click, and web design services to various local businesses throughout the Pittsburgh region and maybe beyond. His freelance expertise naturally led him to founding his company, Pittsburgh Digital Marketing Agency, where he specializes in helping local businesses across diverse industries improve their online presence, generate leads, and offer digital marketing services. Hopefully I captured most of your experience there, but if there's anything you want to add, feel free.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I mean, like you said, I worked in IT for a long time and then kind of transitioned over to the digital marketing side over the years. I way back in the day when we were doing sites in Notepad, I just kind of gained some skills over the years and ended up where I'm at today.
Yeah, the industry has changed a lot. I mean, tech changes quickly and now so even more than before. So we sort of touched on this a little bit with your experience, but how did you move from what you were doing previously to running your agency and doing pay-per-click and SEO and marketing?
Yeah, so in around 2012, I got a job working in the land and mineral acquisition industry, and they needed some marketing. So they were like, "Can you do a website for us?" That's really where I started to pick up the web development skills and they, the PPC. And after doing that for so many years, people that I know who were in my circle were just kind of like, "Can you help me out with my business?" And then you have success with one, another person comes along and they're like, "Can you help us?" And eventually I just had to, got to the point where I needed to start my own business.
Yeah, it sort of sounds like it happened almost naturally and sort of
Yeah.
took on one client, like, oh, hey, this went well, let's do another. And the oil and gas industry is notorious for being super antiquated with their tech. So I'm sure that was a good place to start.
Yeah.
They're famous for, working in Excel and not having, any sort of online databases, all that kind of stuff.
Pretty well, yeah.
Super, super cool. So yeah, so you've been, using Onepage to build, websites and funnels and quizzes, for your clients. Can you talk about, obviously all agencies are a little bit different, but can you talk about the services that you specifically offer and what might set you apart from, some of your competition?
Sure. So web design is the, one of the main services I offer. On top of that, I do SEO and PPC.
Gotcha.
So with PPC, I do Google ads, Facebook ads, Meta, any platform any customers want to use. But those are pretty much the three main services that I do. If somebody needs something else, I'll figure it out and, work with them on other projects as well. So.
Awesome. And, I think, prior to discovering Onepage and building client web pages on Onepage, you were using other tools. What really led you to make the switch to Onepage?
So I heard about Onepage. I think it was on TikTok or some social media platform. And, when I see a new tool out there, I want to check it out. So I checked it out and really liked the templates and the builder mostly. I found that the builder was really easy to use, even without having to read documentation. I just got in there and was able to build, the pages I needed to build really fast. And then when it came to the forms and funnels tools, I was blown away really, because those tools are so much easier to use than other platforms with setting up the forms, setting up the emails that are going out from the forms. I just found it to be really intuitive and user-friendly.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think that's one of the most powerful features of Onepage are the forms and funnels. And are you using the forms and funnels in conjunction with the built-in CMS or CRM, I should say, within Onepage? Awesome.
Yeah, I am using the built-in CRM on all the projects I have, yeah.
And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think that you're building a lot of websites for realtors, possibly restaurants as well. I'm sure that having these like built-in quizzes and funnels that have conditional logic are really useful for something like real estate, where there's sort of multiple paths you can go down through. Is that correct?
Definitely correct. The multi-step conditional forms are the feature that real estate agents are drawn to the most. That's the kind of stuff they want on their site. Some of these clients of mine had sites before where they weren't able to even really do forms, and when they saw what we were able to do with it, they were just blown away by those forms, specifically the quiz forms.
Yeah, I think, in today's world, everything needs to be personalized. And if you present someone with a form that's one, like maybe on another site, it's off brand, that's one, negative aspect. But then the second negative aspect is like no one wants to fill out questions to a form that don't apply to them. Even if they have to skip the questions, they want it to be hyper specific to their, exact use case. So that's where that conditional logic comes in. So you've used other platforms before. What has set OnePage apart from the other CMSs and website builders that you've used?
So I would say the thing that really set it apart is some of the elements, the ease of finding an element when I need to find it. And like I said, the templates all look good and make it really easy for me to build that page. I like how everything is all in one place. I don't have to add any plugins or any extra code to do most of the things that I need to do. I can pretty much accomplish it all within the builder.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we hear a lot that the templates are, really nice as either a starting point or at least a piece for inspiration. Are you finding that you're starting from templates and then sort of like working backwards out of them, or using some of the components, or a little bit of both? Just sort of depends on the client.
Yeah, I'm starting from the templates, then I kind of make it my own. Definitely adding to them and building them out a lot different than they're structured originally. But when I was using other platforms, one of the things that would really just take up so much of my time was the anxiety of picking a template. I can't stress enough how nice it is to have just a smaller set of uniform templates that all just look good, rather than going to another platform and digging through literally thousands of templates, and it just wastes my time with that level of anxiety. The level of anxiety I had searching for a template would take longer sometimes than building the site.
100%. Yeah, I think that a lot of the times, like in life, but especially with things like templates, like less is more. You almost need like software to be in templates to be opinionated in a way. So that can help guide you, towards something that's beautiful and quick and easy. Like too much is sometimes a bad thing. So when we talked a little bit before this call, one of the things that you mentioned was performance before and after with using other tools.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, page speed or any other performance issues that you've noticed that have improved since you started using OnePage?
Yeah, so when I was building with other platforms, one thing I would have to do is optimize every one of my images before uploading it to the site. I don't know what's going on in the back end with OnePage, but it's doing that optimization. I can tell, because when I go to my page speed, I don't have any warnings about, file sizes that are too big. And the page speeds are pretty good on the sites I've done. They're around 90, which is solid. For page speed insights. That's really solid. With other platforms, I would see with a fully optimized page without any caching, I would see probably around a 50. So that's a big jump right out of the gate, and it's definitely a big time saver. I don't have to go through every one of those errors or warnings that PageSpeed Insights is spitting out and meticulously figure out what they do and what I have to optimize to get it to load fast.
Yeah, the unsexy stuff, right? That matters the most. Like, in today's world, like, people are impatient. They have short attention spans, right? And if the site doesn't load up quickly, they might bounce and go on to the next realtor or restaurant or whatever, they're looking for, because they don't have any tolerance or patience for slow page loads. It's just expected that things will be fast. So I'm definitely glad to hear that. Are you using... I know you talked about some of like the images and optimization of that. Are you using any of the on-page SEO within OnePage for your clients?
Yeah, I use all that. One of the really nice bells and whistles that I like is when I went to the SEO page, I saw where it was doing AI text generation for the alt tags for the images, and that's great. That was great. It's a big time saver. It wasn't perfect. I had to go in and edit some things, but it's a really nice bell and whistle to have. And then the other stuff, I like the schema markup, how you can go in and edit that. And definitely just the on-page SEO for each of the pages is good.
Yeah, definitely page-specific SEO is something that a lot of our clients like. And I agree completely. Like, one of the things that I definitely don't want to do is have to write, page meta description. So I think that's a perfect use case for AI. Even if it's not perfect, you have to tweak it a little bit. It's just like sometimes, just sitting there and trying to come up with the perfect description for SEO is just not really fun for anyone, I don't think. Unless maybe you're an SEO specialist. So making that easy is definitely something that we're happy to do for our clients. And we're going to take a look at some of the features that you implemented for your clients, specifically the forms and funnels. So let me pull up that page now here. Okay. So I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I think it's someone's last name, decaria.org.
Decaria, yeah, it's decaria.org.
Awesome.
Real estate agent here in Pittsburgh.
Okay. So yeah, so we're looking at her website, which you built. This is a beautiful looking page, by the way. I love the aesthetic and the hero and the call to actions. But if you just want to walk me through maybe some of the one-page features that you implemented on this page, it can be sort of anywhere on the page. I think that would be really helpful for the audience.
Yeah, so one of the things that she mentioned she wanted was a button to text for people to text her. We have that at the top there. That was really easy to implement because in the drop-down, you guys have SMS, which some other platforms don't even have. You have to go in and do it manually. And on this page, we did a Calendly. So if you click on the free 30-minute chat, it'll take you to a page to book an appointment. And we integrated with Calendly using the Calendly element, which was very simple to do. I just had to paste the link in. So that was nice and easy to set up. Now, if you go back to the homepage, straight to get started, that one links to one of the quizzes, which is also lower down in the page. We wanted to keep this on a separate page so we can use it as a landing page for platforms like for links coming from Facebook.
Gotcha.
So take them directly to the quiz. So that's why we built it out on a separate page. And this is one of those multi-step conditional forms that starts out with whether or not you're buying or selling. And one of the great things about building the forms on one page is the images that you can put in. Like the buttons with the images right there.
Yep.
Those just make the form look much better and really professional.
Yeah, this looks really good. And, for anyone who might not use the form or funnel before, you just what you're saying here is this has conditional logic, right? So depending on what you click, you're going to be taken down a certain path with a certain set of questions. And I do agree. This does look really, really nice with the images. You even have it personalized with her for sale sign. So that looks really good. We're not going to go through the whole funnel here. I see that it is multi-step, but as you can see here, this is, really customized for all kinds of different scenarios. And I'm sure as we move through this funnel or this form, it's going to adapt the questions based upon our selection. So this looks really, really good. And I do want to touch on the Calendly integration, being able, the fact that you were able to implement that without even having to embed any sort of code. You just paste your Calendly link and it builds it beautifully into the site. It looks native because it's a native integration. I think it's just a huge time saver. So I'm glad that you were able to implement that for your clients as well.
And with that Calendly link, I was able to implement it in some other areas too. I have a modal pop up with it on mobile. The modals that pop up look amazing on one page. It kind of does this thing where it takes up half the screen and it looks really native. So I like that.
Amazing.
I like the way it works, like the way it renders.
Yeah, as everyone knows, especially traffic coming from ads, like a lot of time those are social clicks, so they're on their mobile devices. It has to look good, right? So the fact that that's working well for you, we're really happy about. And your clients. So here's this quiz again, just right here on the homepage. So just so, again, we can cover what you did. You have this form right on the homepage, but you also have it as a dedicated page so that you can send ads directly to the form. Yeah. Amazing.
And with the global elements in one page, it makes putting these on different pages really easy. I really like the way you can assign a global element and then just reuse it.
Yeah. So again, just to explain for the audience who might not have used a global element, essentially what that is you often see this with like navigation bars or footers where, you have lots of pages on your site. And if you change something in your navigation bar or your footer or a Calendly integration in this instance, you don't want to have to update that on 100 pages on your site. So that's what a global element does. It saves you the time. You update it one place and updates everywhere on the site. The testimonials look amazing as well down here.
Thanks.
Beautiful imagery. We have a map integration. Is this something that you built within Onepage, or is this embedded widget?
That was built within Onepage. I just entered the address and it was done. If you scroll back up a little bit, there's a little bit more. You can see if you see the get the guide. If you I used a modal with a form, and I love that you can put the forms in the modals and have them pop up like that. She has a guide that she wanted to make available for customers, but didn't want them to just download the guide. So here we use a form to gather some information from them so that she can send it over to them.
Right, and you're capturing a lead in the process. Exactly. Yeah, and this looks really good. It's a modal, it's not distracting. The rest of the page is sort of grayed out in the background, so this looks really, really good. Let's jump over here. Okay, so this is Fig and Ash, which is a restaurant. Talk me through this page. This looks totally different, but also beautiful.
Yeah.
There's lots of different things going on here.
So for this page, they're using a reservation application called Resi, and we had to integrate that. So for that one, I had to grab some code and just do custom codes. And, we just have some of their dishes with the menu at the top there. You can order gift cards, which is connected to their point of sale system. So with this site, I had to do a decent amount of integration with other sites, and it was fairly easy to handle with Onepage. Now, if you go down, it's just, I started off with a template in Onepage, and then we really fine-tune the design to fit their branding guide.
Gotcha.
See that throughout the page here.
Yeah, it looks really nice. I love the transitions between sections.
Yeah, that's their integration with their reservation software.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that. Onepage does have several different integrations with different platforms like Meta Ads, Calendly, and whatnot. But obviously, there can't be an integration for every software on the planet. So that's where you're talking about embedding custom code from other applications. Other applications, especially like booking tools or reservation tools, will often realize that people want to embed this on their site. So they provide you with like a JavaScript snippet or something like that. And Onepage makes it super easy for you to embed that button right on the site here. Again, we have a custom map here at the bottom. I think we have a little bit more time. Let's take a look at one more site. Okay, so this is another real estate agent website. Looks really good. If you want to walk me through this.
Yeah, so again, we have the link to text at the top.
Nice.
And he had some really great photography for me to use. I think that is really one of the main reasons the site shines so well is the photography is pretty excellent. So we display some trust elements in the hero section.
Yep.
Those link out to his reviews so his visitors can see that. And then, so for this site, one of the cool things that I implemented was that link tree. I love that Onepage has a template for this, the same colors and brand and feel within the page. And it's also something that we can track, any clicks to, any clicks from. So he really did like the fact that we could do a link tree on here for links from his social media. Now, if you go back to the original page, I think there's another quiz on this. So I was able to just kind of use the same process to build that kind of quiz for him. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, this looks really good too. I love the background image.
Yeah, it's got the background image of one of the properties he had listing, and it's basically the same as the other one, just, but with a little bit of a different look and feel.
Yeah, totally. This looks totally different, but, really you're using the same backend to generate these quizzes. Yeah. It's just styling. Gotcha. Yeah, and I want to touch on the Linktree page. What's really nice about this is, you're basically, you're building a social Linktree page, but it's fully within his existing site. So it's like helping with SEO juice, potentially. You're also not paying for another service. You're not using another service, something else to log into and track, another thing that could potentially break. So that's really, really nice.
And it's really customizable. I can do stuff with those links that I can't do on Linktree because it's, my own site.
Yep, exactly. You can embed custom code there if you need to, all kinds of sorts of things. Yeah, this really, really looks good. You have different listings here. This looks really nice. I'm guessing if you click this will go out to the details page of that listing.
It goes out to the platform he uses to list those. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, this looks really good. Yeah, thank you for walking me through some of your client websites. I know there's
Oh,
probably more, but these look really good. Just a couple other follow-up questions. I think, maybe you've sort of already answered this, but we've talked about a lot of different features within OnePage that you use, from forms and funnels, SEO, the quizzes, the link tree. Is there any specific feature in your mind that has made the biggest difference switching from another platform?
definitely the forms and funnels and the Calendly integration. They'll just make building those kind of elements so much easier.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine as an agency owner, almost every client will either need to collect information via form or
Yeah.
funnel, or have the ability for clients to schedule appointments. One or the other. I think most businesses require at least one of those two. And that's sometimes the most challenging thing to do. You have this beautiful web page built, but then I've got to drop in some ugly form or send them out, to some other experience, just unbranded and not customized. So
Yeah.
really glad to see that you're using these features. So what we'll do here is we'll link to your agency site and perhaps some of the demo sites that you built within OnePage. So if anyone who's watching this video wants to check them out, they can do so in the show notes below. But yeah, we really just appreciate your time and sharing your experience with OnePage. Is there anything else you want to share about OnePage before we sign off?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. I think it's a really great tool to have in your arsenal, though.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to chat with us today, Steve.
Thanks for having me.